This video is going to be my first installment of One Play Wednesday for Week 12. I'm going to focus on Rashod Bateman's 40-yard touchdown catch against the Los Angeles Chargers to put the Ravens up 14-10 late in the second quarter of their win on Monday night. Bateman has largely been a quote possession receiver for 2023 and 2024, but I think this season he'd have to be put in the more balanced category. Got one other additional big play to show in this film before we really break down the 40-yard touchdown catch. I think Todd Monken and the offensive staff saw the mismatch and went to a design situation to throw the ball to Bateman and run his route away from the safety. And that's the thing I want to focus on as we get to the breakdown of this video. Show it one time through and then provide some context in terms of other routes that Bateman has run this year that were either intermediate and or deeper concepts. So this is the touchdown to Bateman. You got Zay Flowers in motion going across right to left. Deep drop by Lamar. This one almost reminds me of Bateman's touchdown catch against the Jets on the road in Week 1 of 2022, just from the standpoint of Lamar's drop. The angle that Lamar takes, kind of almost pushing back to the right a little bit, setting his feet to throw this thing out there basically with a one-on-one, because it's not like Bateman has a whole lot of separation created here. It's just a great catch by him, and I don't think he's been a huge contested catch guy so far in his career with the Ravens, certainly not when he was going through multiple injuries for his first 2 or 3 years. He's made some contested catches this year. In fact, some spectacular catches. Think of the Week 1 catch against the Chiefs down the right sideline. I think he had one like that against the Bills as well. Oftentimes this year, I think he's been categorized as a possession guy, and in fact, much of his work has been done underneath or in intermediate routes. This is his drag fade, I guess you call it. I'm sure there's other more complicated names for it, but it's going against a corner who I think quite highly of, although the film for 2024 just does not match up in terms of his overall effectiveness, and that's CTB. Bateman's had his way with that guy in the last year plus. In this case, it's Lamar's fadeaway throw to take a 35-28 lead late in the fourth quarter for the Ravens, I think just inside of 2 minutes left. He's also been really reliable on third downs, in my opinion. In motion, left to right, a little bit of a clunky switch between him and Andrews. They almost collide. This is 5 minutes left in the game, 3rd and 6, tied at 28, and Rashod Bateman is the guy that Lamar trusts. I think there's a lot to be said for that. Clearly, he trusts Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. I'll have a large-scale film study video out on Mark Andrews hopefully Wednesday evening, perhaps even early on Thanksgiving morning. He looks like the same guy to me, especially in recent weeks, taking advantage of opportunities, making plays in the red zone and when Lamar Jackson needs him to in important situations. This is the long touchdown pass against Zion McCollum, who's an extremely quick and fast and twitchy athlete. We were up 20-10 before this play. This is third quarter, middle of the third quarter. Absolute win by Rashod Bateman against Zion McCollum. Whether there's supposed to be safety help there or not, I don't know. But look, this is what teams do against us when there's 3 receivers to one side. The downside safety, or the weak side safety, is oftentimes trying to cut number 3 coming across the middle. It's kind of what happens here. Does Zion McCollum think he has help? I don't know. I just know he's beat. And Rashod Bateman, who at this point you wouldn't say is a faster, more twitchy athlete than Zion McCollum, has a win over him nonetheless. So getting to the situation in the second quarter, look, the Ravens were down 10-0 at a certain point. Down 10-0. Bateman is up top here. It's a 2nd and 5. Lamar has appeared to audible, and this route is going to be run into the safety. I think it was Troy Aikman talked about it. It's a play action. I think there's a lot of good here, even though the ball isn't caught. I like the fact that we're taking a shot, especially with Ricard on the field. The only thing I would say that would make me like this even more is if this was Derrick Henry. I'd like to see us take more of these shots when Henry is the running back, along with Ricard being on the field. I really like the concept, getting us moving, folding or peeling Linderbaum back inside. He does it with kind of like a pseudo spin move. Lamar goes up top. It's incomplete, whether it's a drop, a pass defense, whatever. I like the fact that we're taking a shot. And in my opinion, once we had closed to 14-7, to 10-7, and Monken saw this rep up top against Fulton, I think he knew where he wanted to go with the very next play. This is a defensive pass interference penalty. I don't know about you, but when I saw the throw, Lamar had 2 high throws earlier in the game. And when I saw this throw end up so high elevated over Bateman, I was a little reactionary. I was like, what are we doing? Why are we missing that? Well, when you go back and you watch the replay of it and you see Bateman is grabbed, it makes it pretty obvious that that impedes his ability to get to the correct spot. In this case, gives us a first down. And Monken, the very next play, goes up top. I think this is all by design because he recognized the matchup that we had, the matchup edge that we had, number one. Number two, different from the route earlier when we were down 10-0. Bateman's not bringing this route into the safety, who is, you can kind of see him a little bit caught in the right side of the frame. He's bringing this route away from the safety to create a one-on-one. Credit to Lamar. I think it's a great throw. And it also illustrates the trust that he has in Rashod Bateman. To be perfectly honest, and I think if you're being honest, you have to admit it as well, there's been times in the past where Lamar trusted a very limited number of people in terms of throwing the football to them. And in this case, we have a wider array of guys that he can throw the football to. Bateman, Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar. He's demonstrated, I think, tremendous trust in the last year plus in some of those guys who aren't going to produce 60, 70 catches. Bateman didn't last year, and he probably won't this year, get to 70. Aguilar will never be a 70-catch guy. So beyond Andrews and Zay Flowers, we have, I think, Lamar Jackson demonstrating that he's willing to throw the football wherever Todd Monken tells him to, or wherever the read dictates, I should say. This is not a win by Bateman necessarily. I do think he understood the job. He understood the goal here, which was to create a one-on-one for him. How it's communicated in the huddle to Bateman, my guess is Lamar probably on some level tells him, we're coming to you here. There's another route possibly available, and it's Deontay Johnson running the over concept from right to left. Very similar to a route that Zay Flowers had run on the incompletion to Bateman earlier in the end zone when we were down 10-0. This one was exciting to see because Bateman has turned into a big play guy. He's turned into a balanced receiver, in my opinion. I remember old Madden games when you would create a player, you could assign a play type, possession, big play, balanced, and that's what Bateman reminds me of. I thought that's what he was coming out of Minnesota when we saw his play during his rookie year, a guy who could make catches underneath, intermediate and or deeper down the field. In this case, he's doing that in 2024. If you guys enjoy One Play Wednesday, please let me know in the comment section. Try to focus on one play concept that I think was interesting or at least noteworthy throughout the game flow or the context of the game. In this case, we have a huge touchdown throw by Lamar, 40 yards, in a game where he had struggled to be on target, especially in the first 2 possessions. Getting that big play, I think, may have opened the Chargers' defense up a little bit, because if you look after that touchdown is when Derrick Henry really started to take control, even on that possession, I should say. He had 2 big runs earlier in that possession. I appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoy the One Play Wednesday concept videos, let me know in the comment section, number 1. Number 2, if you think other Ravens fans would enjoy my commentary and the plays that I chose to illustrate how I think Rashod Bateman is now a completely balanced receiver, threatening horizontally and vertically at the same time, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.